What's up, Norberg Nation? How's it going? Sorry I haven't posted a video in a week or so. I've been on vacation with my family and it just got busy over the past couple weeks and I just didn't have time to record a video. Also, I've been having a ton of GoPro issues over the past couple races. So at Utah, I really only was able to get that one qualifying lap. I ran my camera almost every session and literally the only time that it worked was for a few laps during that qualifying. So if it weren't for that, I wouldn't have any video at all that weekend. So my GoPros have been shipped to GoPro and they're on their way back right now. So hopefully they're fixed and I can get some more awesome content for you guys. But today we are going to be talking about what I do to prep for a race weekend. Now I am racing about 25 to 30 weeks out of the year. So there are so many different racetracks that I'm attending every single year. Now to be good at all of these tracks, there's a certain routine that I have in place so that I am always prepped before I go to the racetrack. So let's get started with that right now. The first thing I do to be prepped for a race weekend is that I watch a ton of video. Now luckily I have a ton of video stored up from a lot of the tracks that we attend, so I can watch a lot of my own video, but I still like to go online and search up the racetrack and try and find as much content about that racetrack as I can. It's super helpful not only to watch your own video at a racetrack, but to watch anybody else's video just to see the different lines that they take to get through the corners. You can pick up a lot about a racetrack by watching videos like the racing line, how drivers are braking into the corner, where are they accelerating into the corner, what kind of curbs are they hitting. All of this stuff I really like to watch and focus on because it helps give me an idea of the techniques I need to use when I go to the racetrack. Before I had this channel and before there were drivers that posted their onboard like they do today, there really wasn't that much onboard footage. So growing up, it was super difficult for me to find onboard footage. But every race, I'd sit for hours and look and look and look to find as much as I can. I honestly watch the video until I know exactly what corner is coming up next. I watch until that track is embedded in my head and I feel like I know the track before I've even gone there. It just adds that extra layer of confidence going into a race weekend so you're that much ahead of your competition. Now the next thing that I do, and I've talked about this a lot, so I'm probably not going to focus on it too much, but it's visualization. Now this is something that I've always stressed a ton, but I put it after watching video because you need to understand the racetrack before you can visualize it. But one thing that I always do before I go to a racetrack is after I'm done watching a ton of video, I sit down with my imaginary steering wheel, my imaginary pedals, and I drive that track in my head. This gives me that extra little bit of confidence before I go out on the racetrack for the first time so that I know where the racetrack is going and how to hit the corners correctly. Now this doesn't mean that when I go to the track, the way it is in the video and the way I imagined it is exactly how it is in reality. That's obviously not the case because we've all watched video and gone to the racetrack and been like, wow, this is very different from what I pictured. But instead of being caught up in trying to learn a bunch of different new lines for a racetrack that I'd never seen before, I have a little bit of a reference to go off of. If I know a driver brakes at this one bump on the racetrack, I know that around that area, I need to get to the corner. If I see that they're apexing at a certain spot of this corner, I know that that's where I need to apex the corner. If I see that somebody's driving in with a shallow entry that I wouldn't originally think would be the best entry into this corner, that's something that I can use later in the weekend as I'm trying to find new lines around the racetrack. Again, the whole point about prepping for a race weekend is so that you're focused on what really matters, and that's getting speed and getting time on the racetrack. You're not getting caught up in the little aspects of trying to learn a racetrack, trying to learn where the curbs are, what curbs to hit and what not to hit. You're focused on what needs to be done, and that's going fast around the racetrack. The third thing that I like to do is get a game plan for the weekend. Now there's a lot of times that there's a lot of stuff that I didn't try the previous weekend that I wanted to try. Or there's stuff that I was unhappy with the setup that I want to fix going into the next weekend. Now me and my team will sometimes call each other and talk to each other about what we want to try for the next weekend, but in my head there are goals that I want to hit. Whether it's sprocket or different chassis setups, there's stuff that I want to make sure I try at this race weekend. Again, when you watch the videos and you visualize the racetrack, you can kind of tell that maybe this track needs a little bit more front grip, maybe it needs a little bit more rear grip, and you can kind of make a game plan of the stuff you want to attack when you're at the racetrack. Again, this just helps you stay focused on the goal and to not get caught up in all the little different aspects of trying to change your go-kart. Within the realm of creating a game plan for the weekend, you need to check the weather just to understand if it's going to rain that weekend and how you're going to address the rain, what setups you want to try in the rain, what line you need to try in the rain. Making a game plan makes things a lot more simple and helps you stay focused, that you're not rushing or thrashing around the racetrack and not being focused again on the goal, which is trying to go as fast as you can. And finally, the one thing I like to do when I'm creating a game plan is understand my competition and who I really think is going to be my competition that weekend. If there's a name that stands out to me, I want to know if they've raced this track before, how well they did there previously, who's all going to be there, how many competitors there are. If I start in the back of the field, how many drivers do I have to go through to have a good finish? It's stuff like that that just helps me get that little bit of an edge on my competition, so I know that I'm prepared before I even get to the racetrack. And the last thing that I like to do to prep for a race weekend is get my gear in order. I'm not just talking about cleaning my helmet, washing my suits. I'm talking about making sure my batteries are charged on my GoPro, making sure I have both of my GoPros, my computer's ready, I have extra SD cards for my GoPros. I have all the things necessary for when I go on the racetrack. You don't understand how annoying it is when I get to the racetrack and realize I didn't bring an SD card and I have to go the whole day without having an SD card. Or when you're coaching a driver and they sit down and you're like, did you bring your GoPro? And they go, no, I left it at home. That's some of the most frustrating things to deal with. So make sure you've prepped everything before you get to the racetrack. Make sure your batteries are charged. You have extra socks if it's gonna rain, an extra suit, another pair of shoes, extra gloves, some head socks, a clear visor. There's so many things that you can think about as a driver and that you make sure you've prepped before you've even gotten to the racetrack. Again, the goal of being prepared is that you can focus on the goals at hand and not get sidetracked by all of these other little things. You don't understand how much time you can spend on trying to find a case for your GoPro. That's hours of your time and energy that have been eaten up when you could have been focusing on watching some more video or trying to get your lap times down. So these are 4 of the tips that I use to get better prepared for a race weekend. If you guys have any tips that you would like to share, please leave it in the comments down below. I'm always trying to learn different ways to be better prepared for races. And so if you can help me out and help other drivers out, please let me know. Also, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot knowing that you guys are supporting this content and liking the content that I'm putting out for you guys. Also, we're inching closer towards reaching 10,000 subscribers, so please stay tuned for all of the cool stuff that's coming up once we hit 10,000 subscribers. Follow me on my Instagram, my Facebook, and my TikTok. I post a lot of awesome racing content on there as well, so make sure to follow those as well. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.